Hey, joining us now is the majority leader of the House of Delegates in Virginia, the Republican from Colonial Heights, right by our studio, by the way, Kirk Cox. Mr. Majority Leader, great to have you. To take on the student fees across Virginia that are driving up the cost of education astronomically, and they have nothing to do with getting your degree. They have to do with collegiate athletics, and everybody's for it. We all want Virginia to win the basketball tournament, and we want them to win football games, and, you know, we like Tech, we like VCU, we like Old Dominion, everything else. But fees are through the roof. You want to do something about that. Can you share that with our audience?
I sure can. If you look, the overall growth in athletic fees has been 74% increase in the last 10 years. And, it is just becoming a tremendous burden for students. It goes all the way from $1,700 for some universities, and it is substantial for all of them. And I just really felt like with affordability being one of the biggest issues we face, they have to be capped. So what I did was that I went in and basically judged you by the current division you were in, and I surveyed all the NCAA schools across the nation and got an average of sort of what they charge as far as student fees go, and I make you hit that average. And so probably, a lot of ours fall, outside of that average. The other big thing is if you want to move up a division from 2 to 1, or let's say you want to add a major sport like football, you've got to come to the General Assembly for approval. Because we approve, if you want to start an engineering school or you want to start a medical school or something of that nature, SHEV, our State Council of Higher Education, approves that because that's a major expenditure. And so the reason why we want to approve that is because if you're going to move up a division and you're going to lose even more money, and you're going to charge even more in student fees, then, we want to know that, because then when you come and ask us for more money on the academic side, you've obviously really limited yourself in what you can do.
Well, I mean, the bottom line is you look at the amount of college debt now, Mr. Majority Leader, that kids are coming out, both kids and their parents coming out of universities in Virginia. I mean, the average is nearly $100,000. I mean, this is just a lot of money. We have to do something, right?
Yeah, we really do, John. And, the thing is that every school is not going to make their reputation on athletics. I think everyone, and me and you've had this conversation, but I have 4 boys. They all played high school sports. I've got one going to play Division II volleyball. So it's not like, I'm anti-sports at all, but, for everyone to think they're going to be Ohio State and for everyone to think they're going to be national champions, the math just tells you that's not to be. And the problem is that a lot of this money could be spent on on academics. And why can't we start making some of our reputations on academics? The big thing is it will draw students, but it just really hasn't proven to be true. Some of our schools that move up to Division I actually, have been almost less successful in that and find themselves more in debt.
Look, it's one of those things where somebody's got to take it on. Somebody's got to take the mantle and start asking the questions. I live in Southeast Virginia. There's a lot of people that follow Old Dominion. They're excited that they went to Division I of football. Well, they're in Division I football. That they went to the new the new level. But you just look at Old Dominion and how fees have gone up there. And the thing is, a lot of these colleges, Mr. Majority Leader, are not transparent with it. It's not like it's broken out what these fees are, so that somebody could look at them and say, well, why am I paying for that? I mean, they just get rolled into everything. And so, the truth starts, as I'm sure you would agree, with transparency, right?
No, you're exactly right. And one of the pieces in this bill, which is not, something that's been talked a lot about, is that we basically say we want uniform accounting. A lot of them make excuses that, well, different schools count things different ways, so you really don't understand how much, athletics cost. So my bill basically says that the SHEV will help come up with standard accounting so they'll know exactly how much, athletics are. And so we can count all the universities, we can put them in the same grouping, and we can really have a good picture of what it costs, and so parents will know what it costs. So that's part of the bill, to get some uniform accounting, because some count bands, some don't count bands, some count in, various other things, and they don't count other things. And so, that would be a good thing to know as a parent, because I know, one of the universities that my son attended, I mean, the fee was $2,000, and that's, really, really high.
Mm-hmm. It's absolutely outrageous. Again, we thank you for taking this issue on in Virginia. One of your colleagues, other side of the aisle, Delegate Rob Kupika, has advocated a 700% cigarette tobacco tax. Basically, anything you smoke, chew, spit in a spittoon, whatever, he wants to increase that tax by 700%. He says it would bring Virginia in line with other states in the surrounding area, take that money, plow it back into schools. What do you make of that?
Well, I would be opposed to that. I mean, one of the things people forget all the time is one of the reasons why Virginia generally has been ranked in the top 10 as far as, states go friendly to do business is because of our low tax rates across the board. And, you can, everyone's down here asking for tax increases to fund this, or they're asking for a dedicated stream of revenue to fund their cause. And once you start down that road, I don't know where you stop. I mean, you can, look, I'm a K-12 guy. I taught for 30 years. Mm-hmm. But you could argue that veterans have, obviously, some pretty good arguments, et cetera. So once you start that road of, I'm going to do X tax-wise for dedicated revenue, I would say the following. When we look at the tax structure, which I think we do need to look at from more the standpoint of some of our credits, et cetera, it can't always be, then I'm just going to plug it into spending. I think tax reform needs to mean that we're also going to lower taxes in this modern economy where it will generate more business. And so it's funny, the Democrats always seem when they have either a tax increase proposal or doing away with a tax credit, they always want to spend it on some program. Mm-hmm. And I think that's absolutely the wrong approach. When you do tax reform, which I think we do need to look at, we've got to get our tax code up to more of a modern, obviously, type of situation.
Mr. Majority Leader, colleagues, Jen McClellan, Democrat, Richmond, has this bill, HB 1948. Don't know what's going to get out of committee. But basically, it's the cap at $100 a monthly copay amount for specialty tier drugs. Now, there's already a $6,600 cap under Obamacare, but basically what this means is somebody could have a specialty for $100,000. They're going to pay $100. And there's no cap on what Big Pharma can charge for this. No transparency like Obamacare, nothing. Basically, they can charge whatever they please, and guess who's going to be paying for that? Premiums have gone up. Deductibles have gone up. If this goes through, my staff says that premiums in Virginia are going to go up another 15%, and deductibles are going to go up another 17% on top of the 2,000% they've already gone up. How does this make any sense?
Yeah, you make some good points, and you've done a lot of the math. I haven't had a chance to do it. I saw that bill sort of floating through. I mean, obviously, people that are on specialty drugs, as you know, are in a pretty tough circumstance. But, I think you've outlined the problems, with that. And I know you also, we're talking a little bit about Ben Klein's bill.
Yes.
That dealt with photo red. And, that is something I have opposed from day one. And, I think he's really got a real shot this year on that one. It's always hard to handicap what goes on in the General Assembly. But I really do think, there's been a really interesting groundswell the last 2 or 3 years on privacy rights and just that whole genre of issues. And so that's the bill that I think is really going to be interesting to watch and to see where that goes this year. I think it probably has a better chance than in years past.
I think it's got a great chance, but it's one of those things, Mr. Majority Leader, where people have got to get up off the sidelines because there's a lot of elected officials that are getting donor money from these red light camera producers and those that service them. It's big lobbyists are behind it. I mean, you can't get on an elevator without some red camera lobbyist there. They're getting all the money because they're fleecing it from the citizens. So this thing is outrageous. And as you said, it's got a shot. So I encourage my listeners, call your House of Delegates member today and say you want to stop these red light cameras and you want them to back HB 2163. This is like a call to action because you guys have been working on this for some time. I know you started it, and finally you got a shot. It's invasive. To me, it's always been just a violation of your basic rights. You have no trial. You just get a thing in the mail. If you don't pay it, they'll impound your vehicle. Right?
No, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, that's something that I've opposed from day one. And I think you sum it up well. And I will say this from your grassroots appeal, we're hearing, those constituents. I mean, I think they're much more in tune to that issue. I think they've generally been against it for years, John, but I don't think it's reached that fever pitch. And I do see that happening much more. But you're exactly right. I mean, if a lot of what goes on down here is, when people hear from their constituents, it's the way our system works, they do more. So I think your call to action is smart.
It's called a democracy. And that's why we get on the air every day and try to give people the information that they need, because especially, as you know, Mr. Majority Leader, in these short sessions, you get a lot of things happening very quickly, and not everybody can keep up with it. We appreciate your coming on with us, sir.